Hi. So I'm going to count this as part of my yoga teacher training practice teaching um, because I think it really goes with the philosophy and the true heart of what yoga is all about. And what I want to talk about briefly is self-judgment. Um, and I'll tell you, what's bringing it up for me is the realization that sometimes it can be challenging for me personally to not judge my practice. And that shows up in a couple of ways. One way that shows up is getting caught up in, well, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I could do this, and today my body doesn't want to do that. And instead of just being able to accept that, I get caught up in the mental self-judgments, right? It can also show up in getting very sort of egotistical and prideful about some things I can do in my practice. So, maybe I'm in class and I find myself doing a pose and feeling really strong and vibrant in it. And instead of just enjoying that moment, just enjoying being like really in my body in that moment, I'm in my head thinking about what other people might be doing, how other people might look in the pose, comparing myself. Am I doing as well as them? Maybe I'm even feeling a little egotistical and thinking, oh, look how well I can hold this pose. None of that's healthy. None of that's okay. That's all things that I'm very aware in my practice. That's part of the practice, is letting go of all of that. Part of what brings this up for me right now is I just made a really quick little 5-minute video talking about doing some yoga poses, some balancing poses specifically up against the wall. And to be really honest, I was watching it back and I'm like, oh my God, I had so much judgment. I had so much judgment about how I looked, how my body looked. And I thought, I'm not going to post this. So judgmental. And, I think the best thing for me is to realize like it's all part of this process of letting go of that self-judgment. The fact is the information I was giving about the fact that you can use the wall. It's a great tool to help with your confidence in your balancing poses is valid. And that video might possibly help somebody that watches it. And this one personally helping me because it's walking me through that, yeah, like this is something I got to work on, and maybe it'll resonate with somebody else too. But our yoga mats should be a no judgment zone, kind of a ceasefire, right? Something I'm working on very hard is that when I step on that yoga mat, I am calling a truce with my own internal judgments and all of that ugliness that can float around in our heads some days. But also that means not comparing my practice, not worrying about how my pose looks versus how somebody else's pose looks. Just doing my best not to get caught up in those things, because at the end of the day, they're not the things that matter. What matters as I'm on my mat and as I'm connecting with my asana practice is that I am fully present in my body. I'm fully present in what I'm doing in that moment, and really just being there for myself and not getting lost in the self-judgment, the evaluation, the comparison. What anybody else is doing on their mat, quite frankly, is none of my business. And remembering that, and remembering that, there's going to be days when a really challenging pose, at least for me, a really challenging pose, maybe like chaturanga, is going to feel easeful, and I'm just going to breeze right through it. And then there's going to be a day when maybe my body's just like, nah, not doing that today. And you know what? That's okay too. That's all right. It's all part of the practice, and I don't have to judge my practice. I just need to practice. Hopefully you find this helpful. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I appreciate everybody who takes some time to check these out. And, I'm learning here. So I'm doing this yoga teacher training, and I'm having a wonderful time with it. I'm learning a lot, and these little videos to kind of help me practice how to describe it, how to speak of it, how to demonstrate it, how to guide it, cue it, all that good stuff are fun and helpful. And any feedback you have for me is greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful day. Bye.